Hello everyone. Allow me to welcome you to the first big collaboration we prepared with fellow Textubers. Links to their channels will be in the description below, go give their stories some love too. Special thanks to all my lovely patrons, you are keeping this channel going. Can you finally tell me why are you dragging me all the way out of the city just to get on some hill? Semi suppressed an amused chuckle and instead continued to ascend a heavily snowed over road leading up the hill. He still couldn't wrap his head around the fact he somehow managed to drag Shirabu out of the bed at 7 in the morning on his day off to go to the countryside to enjoy the fresh snow. No matter how much his boyfriend grumbled along the way uphill, he still didn't turn around nor insist on being left home. Which was a small miracle on its own. It's just a bit further up. And then you will experience the ultimate fun of every winter. Well, every winter that has snow, that is. Shirabu huffed and buried himself more into the thick-knitted scarf, reminding Semi of a bunny. His heart jumped in his chest at the adorable sight, which he tried to engrave into memory. He had to hold back to not reach out and unwrap Shirabu from his makeshift nest to plant kisses all over his face, knowing Shirabu would never forgive him for exposing his skin to the surrounding cold. And so he just smiled and gently pinched the visible part of Shirabu's cheek before entwining their gloved fingers together and leading the way up, the brand new sledges sliding quietly behind them. Don't be so grumpy. You have to admit it's beautiful here. The sun is shining, the snow is glittering, it's like a fairy tale. And it's quite warm when you give it a chance, you know? Shirabu threw him a scorching glare and huddled deeper into his coat. I'm quite content in my coat and scarf, thank you very much. Why are we going sledging anyway? It's childish. Semi covered his heart with his palm in only partially played offendedness. What do you mean childish? It was my all-time favorite winter activity. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Have you ever seen two adults going sledging? Tisk. You are no fun. You have what you agreed to date. Semi rolled his eyes, but he was well aware there was no real heat or annoyance in Shirabu's words. He wasn't sure if he chose right at the beginning either, but ever since Shirabu told him he was never sledging before, not even as a child, his mind was firmly set on showing his boyfriend just how much fun it was to let loose and enjoy the snow a bit. And so when the opportunity arose, he couldn't miss out on it. Come on, at least admit it's pretty out here. I know you like it when the sun shines on fresh snow. A content grin formed on his lips when he noticed Shirabu's cheeks coloring light red that had nothing to do with the cold. Fine, I admit you chose a beautiful spot. I guess it's nice we at least get some fresh air. Semi grinned and gently bumped their shoulders together. See? And just wait until we get all the way up. Look, we are almost there. As he said it, they finally reached the top of the hill. The view that opened in front of them was unobstructed and absolutely stunning, even though they had to shield their eyes from the pure white glow the snow reflected into their faces. Well, was I right? Shirabu clicked his tongue and looked away, but Semi was not the one to be fooled by that. He wrapped his arms around Shirabu's waist from behind and laid his chin on his boyfriend's shoulder, knowing he won by the way Shirabu leaned back on his chest. You don't have to say it out loud. Just enjoy the view. I am enjoying anything you come up with. He fell silent for a moment before tilting his head to make their eyes meet. I mean, we are here together. I don't need anything else. Now it was Semi's turn to be flustered, his heart speeding up in his chest and his cheeks flaring up. He bit his lip before nuzzling into the crook of Shirabu's neck, tightening his embrace a bit, and practically melted when he felt Shirabu's fingers running through his hair. You should have worn something on your head, you will get sick. I have a headband, that's enough. He looked up and smiled, battling the surge of emotions that swarmed in his chest. And I have my beloved sweet doctor to take care of me if I get sick. To his surprise, Shirabu didn't protest and even brought them closer together. Of course you dummy. You're dummy. Yeah, my dummy. Let's start with the sledges, can we? Semi raised his eyebrow at him, grinning. Suddenly so eager to slide down? The sooner we get to it, the sooner I can drag you back home. Semi let out a short snort of laughter and giving Shirabu a quick peck on the cheek, he stepped back to prepare the sledges. All right, but don't bet on that. No one was ever able to get me go home unless I started to get really cold. Shirabu rolled his eyes. Great. It's not that bad. You'll see you won't want to go home after just a few rides. I highly doubt that. Not for long. He sat down on the sledges and reached his arm towards Shirabu. Come, sit behind me and hold tight. When I tell you to lean, you lean, okay. After a short hesitation, Shirabu settled behind him and wrapped his arms around his waist before shuffling as close as possible to his back. If you crash us, I will be taking it very personally. Why do you think I chose a hill without trees? That doesn't. The rest of the sentence turned into a loud squeal as Semi kicked the ground and pushed the sledges over the flat edge. He steered the sledges down, carefully keeping them from speeding up too much with his feet while trying to contain the excited scream already halfway from his mouth. He couldn't hold back the laughter though, especially when they came to halt at the heel of the hill. He leaned back, gently squeezing Shirabu's hand. So. That. Was. Horrible. Wanna go again? Yes. Semi snickered. See. Told you. He jumped up and rugged on Shirabu's hand to help him stand up. Come then, let's have some fun. God damn it. Kyotani flinched as the loud bang echoed through their home, followed by a line of colorful curses. He rushed to where he supposed Kyouhaba was, his heart speeding up in worry. Are you okay? He barged into the room, fully prepared to immediately turn around and run to fetch a first aid kit from the bathroom. Instead, he was welcomed by the sight of one of the large boxes lying on the ground, its contents scattered all over the floor, and Kyouhaba standing above all of it with head in his palms. What happened? Nothing. This damn thing just, arg. Why now? Kyotani sighed and carefully made his way over the mess towards his partner, who looked seconds before either collapsing or setting the boxes on fire with just his gaze. He took Kyouhaba's hands away and lifted his chin to take a better look for any possible injuries he might have sustained. Did it fall on you? Are you hurt? Kyouhaba looked like he wanted to snap at him again, if only judging by the glint in his eyes, but then just shook his head and sagged against Kyotani's shoulder, letting out a deep sigh. No, I'm fine. I dodged it last second. Sorry, I'll clean it up in a bit. It's fine, I'm glad it didn't fall on your head. I wouldn't want to do a trip to hospital 2 days before Christmas. Kyouhaba whined quietly, and Kyotani instinctively wrapped his arms around him to bring him closer, rubbing gentle circles into his back. Don't remind me that. Remind you what? That there are only 2 days until Christmas. I don't have anything done yet. No decorations, almost no food, nothing. It's so messy here. And when I go to get something, it falls on my head and makes even more mess. Why is everything against me? Kyotani furrowed his brow. Don't you think you are making too much fuss about it? It's not that big of a deal. He regretted his words the moment they left his mouth. Kyouhaba looked up, his eyes burning up when he tore himself from Kyotani's arms and stepped back, clenching his jaw. Yeah, you say that when you are doing absolutely nothing. You have days off and yet you aren't doing anything to help me with all this. In a sudden spur of defiance, Kyotani crossed his arms over his chest, trying his hardest not to raise his voice back. What do you mean nothing? I've been running around stores the whole week for you. I've been listening to you snapping around the whole time, and for what? For you to tell me I'm doing nothing. I don't know what your problem is, but I'm not going to be your dummy to push around. I just want nice Christmas. Is that so difficult to understand? Well, I don't see anything nice about them right now. And if you continue like this even next year, then what? You will go home and leave me here alone too. A heavy silence settled in the room. Any anger and frustration Kyouhaba felt dissipated, immediately replaced by a starting panic when he noticed Kyouhaba's eyes glossing over, same as the tension almost seeping from his posture and his trembling hands. Shigeru. Kyouhaba backed away when he reached for him before bolting out of the room, first tears running down his cheeks. Fuck. Shit. The loud bang of door being shut made him jump, and his heart sank. He let out a heavy sigh. God fucking damn it. He should have known there was more to Kyouhaba's behavior than just some common crankiness. After all those years of being together and knowing every piece of their respective souls, he should have realized sooner. Much sooner. He sighed again as his gaze fell on the scattered things on the floor, among which he spotted one of the ornaments from the set he gave Kyouhaba when they were still in high school. Or rather what remained of it. Carefully, he collected all of the shattered pieces, hoping it was just this one that got broken. Unfortunately, his prayers fell on deaf ears as in the next moment, he spotted more shards with the familiar decor lying just a bit further from him. No wonder they say if one thing breaks, others soon follow. He set the pieces on the table, silently promising to get back to them later, and rushed to look for the room Kyouhaba closed himself in. He didn't have to look for long. The door to their bedroom was now shut close, and his heart broke upon hearing the quiet sniffles from behind them. Biting his lip, he stopped himself from reaching for the handle and instead knocked gently on the wood. Shigeru. Can I come in? There was a short pause, after which a voice much weaker than he would like sounded in among the tearful breathing. It's fine. I'm fine. No, you aren't. Please, let me in, I want to help. I'm sorry I yelled at you, I'm not going to again, I swear. He waited patiently, part of him prepared for the option that the door would stay closed. Then, the light click of the lock reached his ears. Slowly, he opened the door and his heart cracked when his eyes landed on the slumped figure of his fiancée sitting at the very edge of the bed, his back turned to him. Shit. I'm sorry. Kyouhaba hesitated before sitting down next to Kyouhaba. Gently, he freed Kyouhaba's hands from the clutch of his knees, taking note of the bright red crescent moon-shaped marks on his skin. You have nothing to apologize for. How? I raised my voice first and I'm being difficult. Again. Kyouhaba was moving even before Kyouhaba fully finished and pulled him under his chin, hoping he read the mood right and wasn't making Kyouhaba even more uncomfortable. But his worries were soon dispersed when he felt Kyouhaba clutching his t-shirt in his hands, his whole body shaking. You aren't being difficult. And I'm not going anywhere, I promise. Now or next year or ever. A strangled sob tore from Kyouhaba's throat. I'm sorry. I just don't want our Christmas to end up like back at our house. But then, I saw the ornaments breaking and you got upset too, and I thought you have enough to and. Kyouhaba tightened the embrace around Kyouhaba. Shh, it's okay. I'm sorry too, I shouldn't have yelled at you either. But now that I know what's going on, I can make it better. We can make it better. Kyouhaba smiled softly and gently wiped the tears from Kyouhaba's lashes. Right. We are in this together. You aren't on your own anymore, and don't worry about the ornaments. I'll glue them back together later. The faintest hint of smile appeared on Kyouhaba's lips, but even that little was enough for Kyouhaba. He pressed a tender kiss to Kyouhaba's forehead and continued stroking his arm while gently rocking them back and forth. Let's rest a bit and then we can start again. Sounds good. To Tai Chis Surprise, the weather on New Year was almost ideal. After the snowstorms that raged in most of Japan since Christmas, the clouds decided to finally dissipate and show the beautiful blue skies. Just in time for their annual shrine visit. Come on Tai, you are slower than a snail today. Tai Chi would love to roll his eyes since there was really no reason to rush anywhere, but Hayato's enthusiastic nature was as infectious as ever and his smile perhaps brighter than the sun itself, and Tai Chi didn't have the heart to ruin it. Coming. I'm just enjoying the weather for once. Hayato flashed him a wide grin and entwined their fingers together while bumping their shoulders affectionately. True, we should appreciate the small things, right? I'm just excited to go to the shrine again. We need to get the fortune slips this time too, I didn't get one since forever. Tai Chi's good mood faltered a bit. The last time he drew a fortune slip during a shrine visit was before the whole thing with Hayato's accident went down. Back then, he got curse. And if there was something he didn't want to risk, it was getting another bad one. Are you sure? Isn't it more an activity for kids? You are never too old to get a fortune slip. Tai Chi sighed but let Hayato pull him along anyway. The last thing he wanted was for his baseless fears to ruin Hayato's mood. After all, why would he be so naive to believe a piece of paper could predict a car crash and injury? But the closer they came to the shrine and stall, the heavier his heart became. He refused to even look towards the fortune slips already hung on the strings, unconsciously squeezing Hayato's hand even harder than before. Get a grip, damn it. It's just a fortune slip, nothing world-changing. Tai. What's wrong? You are getting pale. Tai Chi snapped out of his thought and looked around, confused, realizing they were already standing in front of the shrine. He quickly connected his hands, trying to pass his absent-mindedness for being in silent prayer. He hoped Hayato wouldn't question it again, but judging by the look Hayato gave him, his hopes fell on deaf ears. Similar to most of his prayers. Tai. I'm fine, I was thinking. He cringed inwardly when he noticed Hayato's eyebrows knitting together. He followed Hayato aside, his mind racing to come up with the best possible excuse. He couldn't let Hayato see the swirl of thoughts in his head. He couldn't show him what weighed on his mind in the last few days. He will just worry again. It's not worth it. He startled when warm, calloused hands cupped his face and made him look slightly down. Tai Chi, what's wrong? I can tell something is off, why don't you want to tell me? It's nothing, really, I. He let out a shuddered sigh and lowered his eyes. You are doing it again. Worrying him for no reason. No wonder he would. He stopped himself from thinking further, startled by his own thoughts. When did this even start? Hey, shh, nothing like that. You promised to tell me if something is wrong, remember? Please. I can't help you if you don't tell me what's going on. Tai Chi sighed again, his heart aching. He didn't deserve to be treated like this. Not for being difficult like this, not for needing constant reassurance. And yet Hayato always found the will to be gentle with him, unbelievably so. Just how did he get so lucky in life? It's my head acting up again. He avoided his gaze, unable to look at Hayato, the only person that had the needed patience to stay with him, too scared to find out all of this was just some wishful dream, a deceit created by his own mind. I don't want this to end, and I'm scared that I will call bad luck on us again if I get the fortune slip. He waited in the tense silence, waiting for Hayato to laugh at H for being stupid or naive or worse. But nothing of that sort came. Instead, the thumbs on his cheeks started to caress his skin, warming it up from the surrounding cold. Oh sweetheart, that's what troubles you so much. You should have said something, I wouldn't drag you to the slips if I knew you don't want to do that. Though I highly doubt you would be able to call bad luck on us. I thought so too, but last year, I don't want to get another curse one. I'm scared. Hayato clicked his tongue and after a quick check of their surroundings, stood up on his tiptoes to get a quick kiss. It's fine. I will pull one for both of us, what do you say? Then you won't have to be worried anymore. And even if I get a bad one, we are in this together, right? We always were. I swore to stand by you in every situation and I'm definitely not going anywhere. His lips curled up in one of his typical grins. Besides, we still have to show your father how real love looks like. Despite everything, Tai Chi had to smile, a soft chuckle escaping his mouth. Right. Hayato, apparently satisfied with it, reached up for another kiss before entwining their fingers again and tugging on Tai Chi's hand. All right. Let's get that slip and then we can go get something to eat. I heard the place right under the shrine has a sale on ramen today. That sounds great. He let himself be led towards the shrine again, his heart speeding up as he watched Hayato taking one of the slips. Please be good, please be good. Then, Hayato's face brightened up. He turned around, proudly showing Tai Chi the piece of paper. Future blessing. Relief washed over Tai Chi like a huge wave. Seems like this year is going to be better after all. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any requests or ideas, feel free to write them under the pinned comment. See you next time.